Today, we'll take you along not one, not two, but 3 flights, all in business class aboard Kazakhstan's flag carrier Air Astana. And they'll all be different, starting with a 6-hour daytime flight from Seoul to Almaty aboard the airline's Boeing 767-300, followed by a domestic flight on their Airbus A321LR in one of the double seats, and lastly an 8-hour daytime flight to Frankfurt on their A321LR, that flight in the single seat. This way, you'll get the most detailed look into what their business class product is like on both of their flagship aircraft types, on long and short flights, with catering made off-base and at their base. I hope you're down for a long trip and lots of food. So without further ado, let's get going. Aviation geeks and frequent flyers, welcome to this new episode of our flight review series, Brutally Honest. My name is David and we're in the suburbs of Seoul right now, near Incheon Airport, hopping onto our hotel's airport shuttle to the terminal. Before we get going though, I want to mention that the tickets for today's journey were provided to us for free by the airline. I'm only ever willing to cooperate with an airline if they let us sit in average seats, not just the fancy first row, don't tell the crew so we don't get any special treatment, and most importantly, they don't get to have a say in what does or doesn't make it in the video, and to ensure that they don't get to view it beforehand. And Air Astana has agreed to that, and has so much faith in their product that they let us try 6 different flights, 3 in economy, which is also something we always insist on testing too, the video about which is already available on our channel, so make sure to check that out as well, and 3 flights in business class. Let's get back to the trip though. So we're in Seoul, the capital of the Republic of Korea, heading to Incheon Airport's Terminal 1. Air Astana, like most non-SkyTeam airlines, uses Terminal 1 at Incheon Airport. The airline offers separate check-in counters for business class passengers and status holders of their frequent flyer program Nomad Club. Checked bags get priority tags, so far everything like with most other business class products. Incheon Airport has a separate priority line at security which can't be used by business and first class passengers though. Security control waiting times at Incheon Airport currently aren't the best, unfortunately. We're spending our time before departure at the Asiana Airlines Business Lounge West, which has basically the same layout as their other lounges in this terminal. It's a spacious and modern lounge, very bright and clean, and you have access to a buffet with various hot and cold dishes, alcoholic and non-alcoholic beverages, and shower rooms are available too. This will be our ride to Almaty. Echo India, Echo Kilo Bravo, a 2013 built Boeing 767-300, one of the very last passenger 767s ever to be built. It's one of 3 in Air Astana's fleet, which also includes the very last passenger Boeing 767 to ever be built, which is the one we came in on 2 days ago and we showcased in the economy class video. Due to Korea having close economic relations with the region, Incheon has a wide variety of connections to Central Asia. Our route to Almaty is served daily by Air Astana as well as 4 times a week by one of those Airbus A330s of Asiana. The 2 airlines code-share on their respective flights, which helps with connectivity. Now it's time to board, where we get to be amongst the first ones thanks to flying business class. The Boeing 767s Air Astana uses only have one door at the front, meaning no separate jet bridge for business class. Aboard the 767s, Air Astana features a 1-2-1 configured staggered business class featuring 30 Thomson Vantage seats. This is the exact same seat Austrian Airlines uses aboard their 767s. I went with a window seat and with one of those which are closer to the window, 5A. Waiting on each seat already were a blanket, the same they handed out upon request in economy class on my inbound flight, as well as a sizable, very comfy pillow. Being 180 centimeters tall, the legroom is very good, and in the bottle holder next to the screen was already some water waiting for us. Up here, a literature compartment, as well as a smaller storage compartment, presumably for your shoes down here. Right next to the seat, you'll find a panel with the audio port, a USB port, a universal power outlet, and another USB port, this one offering fast charging, as well as our headset. I've seen considerably more premium headsets in business class, including noise-cancelling ones too, but those will do. Back there is another hidden control panel, which is easier to use when the seat is converted to a bed, as opposed to the one over here, which is easier to use when in sitting mode. Beneath here, well hidden, is a little remote control for the in-flight entertainment system, but the screen itself also accepts touch commands. This is a table, which can be used half open or fully open. And up here, a little coat hook, and beneath the screen you may find another storage compartment. I must say, I'm a big fan of Astana's cabin design, both on their A321LR as well as on their 767, with so many intricate little details and patterns visible in the fabric, the seats, and other cabin elements. Before takeoff, a selection of economic newspapers and magazines were offered by the crew, and the menu cards were handed out. We've also got a pair of slippers and an amenity kit, at which we'll take a closer look later on. The service on this 6.5-hour daytime flight includes an appetizer, salad and/or soup, your choice of 4 different main courses, either chicken, lamb, fish, or a vegetarian option, alongside a selection of bread, and afterwards dessert and/or cheese. Notably, none of the dishes contain pork, as more than 2/3 of the population of Kazakhstan identifies as Muslim, although most practicing it not that strictly. Unlike flag carriers of some other Muslim-majority countries, Astana is anything but a dry airline, offering a wide variety of alcoholic beverages. Before takeoff, a selection of drinks was offered, including Astana's homemade lemonade, and I had a lot of it to drink, so I got to see the bottle, and this stuff wasn't store-bought. They actually make this lemonade fresh, and it tasted amazing. This Boeing 787 over there belongs to Korea's newest airline, Air Premia, which I'm trying to work into an upcoming trip as well to show you what they're like. So if you don't want to miss this or any of our other upcoming videos, make sure you are subscribed to our channel. Now we're ready to go, and I'll let you enjoy this amazing view over Incheon Airport coupled with the intense sound of the engines without me talking over them. Right after the seatbelt signs went off, hot towels were handed out. We're starting off lunch service with beverages of your choice, some amuse-bouche, and a little bowl of warm nuts. For the appetizer, we've got the smoked salmon and citrus herb prawn with vegetables, alongside warm bread fresh from the oven, some butter, and a fresh salad with an olive oil and lemon dressing. I kinda like the design of the cutlery. It makes me feel like a lord in some old European castle. For the main course, the decision was hard, but I ended up choosing the vegetarian option. Once again, it was served with some warm bread. Particularly the garlic bread was fantastic. And here we've got pappardelle pasta with pesto, arancini, which are Italian fried balls of risotto rice and cheese, sautéed mushrooms, and some marinara sauce. Who says vegetarian food is always healthy? It was all very tasty, however, serving something deep fried that's supposed to be crunchy doesn't really work on planes. In those ovens on board, it mostly just ends up being mushy. After the main course, the crew came by with a cart from which you could choose different teas, coffee, desserts, fruit, and cheese. I went with the coconut mousse with a passion fruit sauce and a cappuccino, which I got some KAZAKH chocolates with. Oh, and the coffee they serve on board? Kudos, really good. The entire meal service was very nice. I enjoyed each of the dishes. Although, if you expect over-the-top luxury, something you'd find in a 5-star restaurant, that's not what that meal service was. Each of the dishes was fairly down to earth, and as somebody who doesn't fly business class all the time, I personally prefer it that way. I just want normal food that's tasty and nicely presented, and it's what we've got. But if you're the kind of person who can afford to travel in premium cabins all the time, the dishes on this flight might not wow you. What I particularly admire about Air Astana's business class catering is the thoughtfully designed tableware. The cups, the plates, the silverware, all fitting together nicely, creating a unique background upon which to play out the meal service. Now it's time to sleep off all of that food. The cabin was darkened and the crew offered blankets to those who wanted to sleep. Remember how I mentioned in the beginning that the blankets in business class were the same as in economy? Well, upon request, they had higher quality blankets available, so I ended up using the economy blanket as a topper and then used the bigger business class blanket for sleeping. When turned into a bed, the seat is easily long enough for me at 180 centimeters. However, the footwell doesn't offer all that much space with these older Thompson Vantage seats. Before landing, the crew once again handed out hot towels and offered a round of beverages. Got another cappuccino to wake me up and some more of that KAZAKH chocolate. Before we land, let's have a brief look at the Christian Lacroix branded Amenity Kit, which contains a toothbrush and toothpaste, earplugs, a ballpoint pen, eye shades, a pair of socks, hand balm, a sanitizing wipe, and a comb. As we're starting our descent into Almaty, it really paid off to go for seat 5A. That engine view with this incredible backdrop, what a breathtaking scenery. With that, welcome to our first stop, Almaty, an airport that I'm not a fan of. I have had an extensive rant about it in the economy class video, so I won't get into it all again. Watch the video if you want to get my full opinion. Long story short, the terminal capacity is woefully insufficient, and expansion is under construction, which should solve the problem in the near future. For now though, this airport is just bad. Over there, you can see an abandoned steel structure. This was their initial attempt at building a new terminal back in the early 2010s, but it never ended up being completed. The current attempt at a terminal expansion seems like it will make it to completion, so not all hope is lost for Almaty. And it's not just the terminal that gives me headaches, it's the entire operation. There are 4 belts, so obviously let's cram 3 flights onto one and completely disregard the unused one next to it. It took me a while to figure out which one was for my flight because for some reason it just displayed the codeshare flight number. No, it didn't switch between flight numbers, it just permanently displayed my Air Astana flight from Seoul as OZ6961, just like it permanently showed Air Astana's flight from Bangkok as Cathay Pacific Flight 6226. 30 minutes after deplaning, we're finally on the way to the hotel. Almaty is truly an underrated place to visit. It's an incredibly breathtaking city, and I highly recommend you take the time to spend a day or two here should you ever consider an itinerary that includes a connection here. New day, new flight. Now we're off to the airport for our flight up to Astana and then on from there to Frankfurt. Air Astana has a separate business class check-in at Almaty Airport, but that's where the priority part ends because the airport does not have a lounge in the domestic part of the terminal. With the number of domestic flights and the fact that Almaty is the economic center and most populous city in Kazakhstan, not having a lounge is certainly unusual, but then again, so are most things about this airport. It also currently has just 3 jet bridges, meaning most flights park on remote stands, ours included.
Flying on Airlines complete one for flight number 676 to Jeddah, gate number 3.
During the ride to our plane, you get a good glimpse as to just how small the airport really is. Luckily, the new terminal is supposed to be completed soon and looks like it'll add significant capacity to the airfield. This will be our ride up to Astana. Echo India Kilo Golf Foxtrot, a 2021 built Airbus A321LR. The airline currently operates 15 Airbus A321neos, of which 11 are the new cabin flex version with just one main door in front of the wing. Those 11 also have some slight adaptations making them LRs, but A321neo LR isn't officially its own subtype, it's just a very slightly adapted A321neo. Each of those 11 planes comes with 16 lie-flat business class seats up front of the newer Thomson Vantage generation. They are staggered, meaning it switches between 4 seats per row and 2 seats per row. Obviously, the single seats are the best, but we're here to try everything and not just the best seats, so for this flight we're in the last row of business class at the window. Once again, being 180 centimeters tall, the legroom is very good. Beneath the screen, some storage space for your phone, passport, glasses or something similar, and in the middle, 2 literature pockets, one for each seat, and up here are coat hooks. On the side of the center console, the control pad for the seat, and hidden here again a remote control for the IFE, which also can be used via touch inputs directly on the screen. Another large control panel here, as well as a USB-A port, the audio port for the headphones, a universal power outlet, with another USB port, this one offering faster charging speeds, a bottle holder which has the headphone covers in it, as well as an adjustable reading light. Something quite unique is that the tray table folds out from the center console up here. Despite being just a 90-minute domestic flight, pre-departure beverages are offered, as well as a small selection of newspapers, and once again we've got menu cards. On this domestic flight, 3 main courses are on offer alongside a salad and dessert. Now, let's sit back, relax, and get ready for our flight. Next to us is a Boeing 737-800 of SCAT Airlines. Now, I could make a joke about that brand name, but I won't because that's not the channel I'm running. I'm going to tell you why it's called that because our videos are supposed to be informative first and entertaining second. So if you enjoy videos like that, make sure you are subscribed to our channel. SCAT was established in 1997 as a cargo airline, and the acronym simply means Special Cargo Air Transport. Despite its appearance, it's a serious airline operating over 30 planes and offering mainly domestic flights as well as charter and holiday flights for Kazakhs to overseas destinations. After takeoff, we're straight into the meal service as we only have 90 minutes until landing. Starting off with a hot towel, followed by beverages of your choice, where I went with this delicious cherry juice, as well as some salty nibbles. For efficiency this time, we've got all 3 courses at once. For the entree, I went with chicken Kiev, which is chicken filled with herbs and butter, deep fried, alongside mashed potatoes, asparagus, and creamy mushrooms. On the side, some warm bread fresh from the oven. A fresh salad with cherry tomatoes and cheese, butter, olive oil, salt and pepper, and a slice of 3-layer chocolate cake for dessert. For a 90-minute domestic flight, a phenomenal meal, absolutely no question about it. Just that once again, they offered a dish that's supposed to be crispy, but you can't get it crispy in most airplane ovens. It took away a bit of the fanciness of the meal. Compared to most other airlines though, still overall a really good meal service for a domestic flight. The IFE is basically the same as on the 767 and there isn't much interesting to show. The only really annoying thing is that Air Astana is one of those airlines that forces you to watch ads before each title, and they cramped in over 2 minutes of unskippable ads, which is particularly annoying when watching a TV show with 20-minute or so episodes. But if I ever move to Kazakhstan, I'm now convinced to get an account at Khalik Bank. With that, welcome to Astana's Nursultan Nazarbayev International Airport. There seems to be some big multilateral summit of Turkic countries going on here, with the massive government jets of Azerbaijan, Uzbekistan, Turkmenistan, and Turkey on the ground here. Gotta maybe watch out what I'm filming while I'm here.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Astana Airport is what Almaty Airport wishes it was. A great modern international terminal with fast Wi-Fi, a super easy transit experience, quick passport and security checks, and this airport comes with a lounge. A modern and bright space with a buffet of hot and cold food options, plenty of different beverages, a children's play area, and a yurt. Now off to the last flight, a 7.5-hour trip from Astana to Frankfurt. The reason it's so long is that since 2022, Air Astana is amongst those airlines which no longer flies to, from, or over the Russian Federation, increasing the flight time to Frankfurt by quite a bit. This time we're flying on another one of the airline's A321LRs, Echo India Kilo Golf Juliet, a 2022-built A321neo. Inside though, it's exactly the same as the others we've been on, only this time we'll see if the big single seat, nicknamed the Throne, is worth it. I say worth it because Air Astana charges extra for this seat. They wanted 15,000 Kazakh tenge, which at current exchange rate is roughly 30 euros. With this flight once again being an international long-haul flight, we've got a blanket and pillow again. The main difference to the dual seats is that this single seat offers considerably more storage space. Air Astana opted for the version of the Vantage seat, which has this extra large bin down here for your bag, which I find super useful, and there's even space for something like your shoes beneath that. Another addition is this little compartment behind the tray table with a mirror on the inside of the door. Apart from that, the seat is mostly quite similar to the other ones. Of course, you have the luxury of not having a neighbor, but the seat itself is just as wide and the bed just as long as with the dual seats. Ah, look at that. The lemonade is back. They apparently only serve the homemade lemonade on international flights, so I wasn't able to go for it on the domestic leg just now. As we're pushing back, the menu cards were handed out. On this flight, one main meal service with 2 different appetizers, plus salad, soup, 4 choices for the main course, duck, veal, salmon, or vegetarian ravioli, as well as dessert and or cheese. But with this flight being roughly an hour longer than Seoul to Almaty, there will be another small pre-landing snack service with 2 options, either a chicken salad or a tuna sandwich. With that, we're ready to roll. Oh, look at that! Another country's government jet is here, and isn't she a beauty? Kyrgyzstan's Tupolev Tu-154, built in 1993.
This is your brace position in case of an emergency landing. Hand luggage should be stowed in the overhead bin or under the seat in front of you. It must not block aisles and emergency exits. Ready to depart. Please open the armrest and check the tails hooks and seatbelts under the upright position and your seatbelts fastened.
Know the drill by now, starting with a hot towel, beverages and some amuse-bouche, this time camembert and or a fish tart. Among the beverages, you can choose between non-alcoholic options as well as things like champagne, where they either serve Taitinga or Moët Chandon, and you may also go for a selection of made-to-order cocktails. I went for some more of that phenomenal lemonade, a glass of champagne, and just a bowl of warm nuts. For the appetizer, I went with a beef fillet with cauliflower puree and potatoes, which were served together with a soup, a red lentil soup with sour cream and toasted bread, a salad with olive oil tapenade, and some bread fresh from the oven. The sous vide veal ribs were my main course, and just look at how juicy and tender that is. Damn! With that creamy meat broth sauce, very, very impressive. After that, once again, the dessert cart. And look at that, that's the service when they are departing from Kazakhstan. Look at this pretty tea kettle and the yurt-style bowl of chocolates. And the taste didn't disappoint either. A panna cotta with white chocolate and peach sauce alongside a cup of coffee. This was certainly the best meal service of the 3 flights. Very tasty dishes, those ones clearly a bit more sophisticated than the ones catered off-base in Seoul, still in love with a pretty tableware. Overall, just a flawless meal service. Just like in economy class, Air Astana offers different amenity kits on flights to and from Kazakhstan. On this flight, we've got Samsonite red branded kits with a toothbrush, some shoe shine, earplugs, face cream, lip balm, hand cream, a comb, a shoe horn, a pen, mouthwash and toothpaste, eye shades, a pair of socks, as well as a refreshing tissue. Wow, that's quite an extensive amenity kit, quite a bit better than the one before. As we're getting ready for the calmer cruise of the flight, the crew handed out bottles of water. Gotta continue watching The Last of Us now. Really cool of the airline to have the entire series on the IFE. What a phenomenal show. The business class lavatory up front was always nice and clean, with some flowers in it and a couple of amenities. Some more coffee to stay awake. I don't fly business class that often, so I want to savor the entire journey and not sleep through it. Which is kind of difficult anyway, because even with the single seats, the footwells on the Thomson Vantage seats are really narrow. Another thing that is ever so slightly bothersome about those Thomson Vantage seats is the design of the tray table, because it folds out like this and is anchored here, and is anchored so far over here, all of this is hovering in the air. That just puts a lot of force on 1 or 2 screws, which easily get just slightly loose. The table isn't as wobbly as I feared, but with those loose screws cause it to be a bit uneven, which makes working on a laptop a bit weird because see how tilted it is. One more noteworthy thing that at least doesn't bother me at all is that those seats have shoulder belts. That's actually a fairly new guideline, which is why most newer business class seats have those now, so that in the event of a crash you don't get injured hitting the screen or panel in front of you. They don't exist in economy class because the distance to a physical surface in front of you is smaller, so you can't accelerate as much, making it less hazardous. Most new business class seats these days have those, and you only need to wear them during takeoff or landing, so no big deal. As we're getting closer to Frankfurt, it's time for one final meal, or rather just a dish. A salad with eggplant and grilled chicken. And because I had way too much coffee already, a cup of tea, as well as a hot towel. 3 flights later, and oh god, what a long video. If anyone's still watching, kudos to you. Let me know in the comments if you actually stuck around till the end and if you enjoyed it or if I'm just rambling on for too long. Looking back at those 3 flights, there were both good and bad things about the journey. The low point was obviously Almaty Airport, but that will hopefully change soon. Most of the journey was just good. Flawless, actually. Not too much about it had a huge, glamorous wow factor to it. The airline focuses on the basics and does well there. The meals were all delicious, with the main meal service on the last flight having been the highlight. Throughout the journey, it's the overall design of the onboard product that I admire the most. From the lighting to the seat fabrics, the safety video, the tableware, even the staff's uniforms, it all fits together so nicely and creates such an elegant, coherent experience. I am fully aware that nobody chooses an airline based on the design of the in-flight elements, but it was something I personally wanted to highlight. With that, welcome back to Frankfurt. If you're actually still watching, thank you very much. This video was honestly so much work because it just features 3 flights and 3 different products. I hope I was able to fulfill my mission to give you the most detailed, in-depth video possible about Air Astana's business class product. If you enjoy watching videos like this one, please subscribe to our channel as we have plenty more to come soon. Special thanks to all those of you who have decided to support us financially with a channel membership. If you want to contribute too to our mission of showcasing as many airlines and products firsthand as possible, take a look at the Members tab on our channel or simply click Join beneath this video. Whether you are a channel sponsor, a subscriber, or simply stopping by for this one video, thank you very much for watching and coming along. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I'll see you again for a new video next week.
Thank you so much.
And if you're up for another episode of Brutally Honest, why not take a look at this one featuring United Airlines domestic first class on a flight from Los Angeles to Newark, and look at how Kazakh domestic flights compares to one in the United States.